Just like in the original, the human form of the Beast is a bit of a letdown. Hi everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to Tread Talks, where I walk on this treadmill to stay in shape while making videos for you fine people. We are now 5 movies into Disney's effort to create live-action versions of its classic animated films, and with each one they face the same challenge. Can they create films that improve upon their predecessors and that deserve to stand on their own? And with Beauty and the Beast, the challenge was particularly high, because the original movie was such an excellent film, and for many people it's still their favorite animated movie. And so if you're one of those people, you should go in expecting that this movie is going to improve in many ways on the original, but that you'll probably come out still preferring the animated version. Now, the biggest initial news we got about the movie was that Emma Watson would be playing Belle, the intelligent, beautiful, independent woman that longs for much more than her provincial life before getting captured by a beast who she would eventually grow to love. And in terms of the acting performance, I think she does a great job, both in the subtle ways that she reacts to her life in this small village, and in the expressive emotional moments that make up her relationship with the Beast. But the other huge aspect of the role is expressing yourself through song. Now, I'm not someone who notices auto-tuning very often, but in this case it felt consistently strange, as if each note had been corrected and perfected after the fact. And I know that partly her casting, in addition to the fact that she's a great actress, was due to how well known she is and the difference it would make at the box office. And I can't help but wish that they had cast someone who could fulfill all aspects of the role. And then of course there's the Beast, who was really hit or miss for me, in part because we're dealing with what looks like a completely computer-generated character. And the result is that sometimes he looks great, and you appreciate the expressiveness of his face, and you're completely convinced that this is a real creature. But then the other half of the time it just looks a little bit off, whether it's because of some moment of weird animation, or because it just feels like he wasn't there in the scene when it was originally filmed. And one reason I felt this way that wasn't actually visual is that the sound of his voice didn't often feel like it matched with hers. For example, when he is showing her the great library for the first time, they're kind of in an open, cavernous space, and they're not standing next to each other, so naturally she's speaking more loudly and projecting her voice, whereas his responses sound like it was recorded in a studio as he's doing a segment for NPR. It just wasn't believable. So for me it felt like they didn't quite nail the characters that were the most important to get right. On the other hand, they did a great job with the rest of the supporting cast. And far and away the most improved character is LeFou, played by Josh Gad. He goes from being a goofy lackey in the original movie to being someone who's memorably funny and also serves as a conscience or a voice of reason in contrast to Gaston's bullheaded self-absorption. Speaking of which, Gaston really grew on me. They added some touches to flesh out his character a bit, and he may not be the size of a barge, but Luke Evans embraced this role in a way that more than made up for it. And the changes they made with Belle's father and their relationship, it added more depth to it, and they introduced some character traits and interactions that pay off later in the movie. And the same goes for the workers in the castle. There's some excellent casting across the board here, and I actually found myself being more touched and caring more about the impact of the curse on them than I ever actually did about the Beast. Now, beyond the characters, there's a lot that I really enjoyed and some things that didn't quite hit its mark with me. With regards to the story, I appreciated just about every addition and change because in almost every instance it was something to either explain something that didn't make sense before, or to give more depth to the characters, or to allow more space for relationships to grow, or simply to present a more realistic way for things to have played out. In addition to that, the musical score is amazing. It manages to imbue the right emotional impact into scenes that would otherwise be flat. And much of the set design and character designs are simply gorgeous. You can tell that a lot of care and artistry went into realizing these comparatively simplistic drawings that we saw decades ago. On the other hand, a few things felt off for me. The editing felt really strange, especially when cutting the dialogue scenes. It often felt like it would cut from one character to another too quickly, resulting in some awkward or abrupt conversational flows. And there's one additional song toward the end of the movie where it totally makes sense why it's there and the purpose it serves, and the lyrics are actually rather good, but the performance itself felt bland and out of place. And so all of this comes together in my mind, and I find myself a bit frustrated because I was hoping that they would absolutely hit this one out of the park. The movie does do a good job of being faithful to the original while introducing new ideas that genuinely improve upon it. And yet at the same time, there are enough missteps in execution that ultimately it's enjoyable and sometimes really impressive, but not a classic. Okay, so that was Beauty and the Beast, and now you get to decide what movie I watch and review next. This weekend I'm choosing between two major releases, the first one of which is Life, the story of an alien life form that turns out to be a much bigger threat than originally thought. And the second option, and it probably needs very little introduction, is Power Rangers. So whichever one you want me to watch and review, go ahead and put it in the comments and that's what I'll go with. And beyond that, if you like this video and you want to keep up with my content, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 250 subscribers and it would be great if you were a part of that group. Either way, thank you very much for watching and have a great day.